When Booker entered the presidential race in February, he was widely considered one of the leading contenders in the crowded Democratic primary. While he has largely held steady and is still edging out more than half the declared candidates, he's still at just over 2% support in most polls. He is behind some of his Senate colleagues, and he has watched far lower-profile politicians vault over him. Faced with these daunting poll numbers and waning buzz, senior members of Booker's campaign made their case to Newspulse News for why, as the Democratic presidential debates begin later this month, they still think he can pull ahead. They're betting on a two-pronged strategy focused on building an organization in key early states and rolling out an ambitious policy agenda devoted to the idea of justice. Our philosophy has been, the race is going to be won in January or February of next year. The goal is to build a sustainable organization and have a platform, policy-wise and infrastructurally speaking, to be in it for the long haul, Adisu Demisi, Booker's campaign manager, said in an interview with Newspulse News last week. The Booker campaign's plan to build out a quality team and detailed suite of policies also includes a tight focus on the first 4 states on the primary calendar: Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, and Nevada. In Iowa and New Hampshire, in these places, you can actually win these things with retail politics. You can win by organizing and introducing yourself to people, Demisi said. The way to cut through the noise, you can win hand to hand. Booker's opponents, particularly the two who have most dramatically climbed past him in the rankings, former Texas Representative Beto O'Rourke and South Bend, Industry, Mayor Pete Buttigieg, have been buoyed by extensive press. Articles have chronicled O'Rourke's youthful stints in punk bands and Buttigieg's mastery of multiple languages. Demisi acknowledged that his candidate doesn't have what he termed the newness thing. However, he pointed to poll numbers indicating that much of the public has yet to meet Booker, even if reporters have already shared many of his stories. We have 9 months to introduce him to these folks, and the numbers will change when that changes, Demisi said. On Twitter, Demisi also regularly points out how inaccurate early presidential primary polls have been in the past when they predicted Presidents Rudy Giuliani, Hillary Clinton, and Jeb Bush. He told Newspulse News that he believes the current surveys showing Booker near the back of the top tier reflect more soft support from voters. They're just going somewhere because they're being asked to go somewhere, but it's extremely fluid, Demisi said of the polls. We just want to be on the list for the next 6 months, and in the meantime take our time building. Demisi's social media posts are also peppered with the hashtag #BrickBeBrick, which has become something of a mantra for him and his troops as they preach their faith in groundwork over early polling. Jen Brown, a deputy campaign manager for Booker, said his team is doubling down in those first 4 states. She noted that having a large and experienced team is particularly important in Iowa, where the caucus system is complex and involves strategic maneuvering on the day votes are cast. The strength of your volunteer operation, and the people who are in the room to pick up voters when other candidates drop off, is a huge deal, Brown explained. Yet infrastructure isn't everything. South Carolina State Representative J.A. Moore, who co-chairs California Senator Kamala Harris's campaign in the state, also credited Booker's staff there. But Moore noted that Booker hasn't gained momentum. Booker has the best team in South Carolina. The best, Moore said, adding, but he's not catching on. Early state polling data is less robust than national surveys, but there are some indications that Booker's efforts are paying off. He is averaging over 4% in Iowa and 5% in South Carolina, where he's in 4th place behind former Vice President Joe Biden, independent Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, and Harris. Booker has also tried to distinguish himself in terms of policy. Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren has far outpaced the rest of the Democratic candidates by releasing over 20 detailed proposals. Booker's platform is not as fleshed out as Warren's, but he has unveiled more policies than almost anyone else in the primary field. Last month, he embarked on a multi-state Justice for All tour, in which he highlighted a suite of policies including a dramatic expansion to the earned income tax credit, efforts to protect voting rights and expand access, and an environmental justice plan. And on May 5, he unveiled a sweeping gun control plan that included mandating technology that would leave traceable microstamps on handgun shells. He followed that up with a proposal designed to reduce gun suicides. For now, those polls show that Biden has emerged as a clear frontrunner, followed by Sanders. The two leaders in the field of over 20 Democrats clearly have the highest name recognition, thanks to Biden's past White House position and Sanders's 2016 presidential campaign. But behind Biden and Sanders there are two other senators, Warren and Harris. And while Booker entered the race being compared with this cohort, O'Rourke and Buttigieg have moved between him and the rest of this top tier. As of now, Booker's poll numbers are still good enough to keep him on stage through the third Democratic debate, when the field will be dramatically thin thanks to a new set of rules unveiled by party leadership on Wednesday. Debates could also be a major opportunity for Booker, who has long been known as a powerful speaker. And some of the other candidates who are currently in front, particularly O'Rourke, have shed support of late, while Booker has remained steady. But poll numbers aren't the only metric where Booker is being outpaced. When fundraising figures showing how many donations each candidate raised during the first quarter of this year were released last month, he was also behind all of the aforementioned presidential hopefuls. While Booker may not be leading the way, he is ahead of most of the Democrats running for president in terms of both poll numbers and campaign cash. And Demisi said the over $5 million Booker brought in is more than enough for the senator to fund his team. You just need as much money as you need to build your organization. The goal is to fund the organization and not just have money for money's sake, Demisi said, adding, as long as we have enough money to pay for our organization, which we will and do, then we'll be able to stay in the race and compete. Brown insisted she isn't concerned about people jumping ship from Booker's team due to his performance in the polls. This is the thing about people who have decided to work for Cory Booker in this race, she said. They truly believe that they want to spend their lives, and most certainly this campaign cycle, making a difference behind somebody who has a vision that they believe in, and they all chose him.